Okay. Tuesday night vlogging, and I had a really busy day, so again, saving the spoons for the typing, because I have quite a few lovely roleplay tags to tag, and I also have more writing to do. I'm finally putting some of the Dunwich Romance story to page. Finally, I can't leave it in my head for very much longer, because it's driving me nuts. It's just, okay, this needs to get written, finally. But, busy day today, ran some errands, went in to right in for my hours, picked up a few groceries. Then this evening, the three of us went to the library here in town, and I picked up quite a few books. Two short story anthologies by Uncle Stephen, aka Stephen King, what we call Stephen King, because my dad had one of his nephews for a coworker for a number of years. So, heard a lot of funny stories about Uncle Stephen. So ever since then, we've started referring to Stephen King as Uncle Stephen, even though he's not our uncle. Just one of those family jokes. But I picked up Just After Sunset and Night Shift, which both contain some short stories that I heard recommended in the Lovecraft e-zine video chats one day. So, of course, a couple days, different days. So I thought, oh, yeah, look into those. It's always good to get short story collections anyway, because I feel like short story collections actually read a little quicker than a straight up novel, because they're in easy to read, or I should say, at least convenient to read sections. Unlike a novel, which is, one long narrative, so it's a little more broken up, obviously. Got that. Also got Carrie Elwes's hilarious little, or just delightful memoir, I suppose you would call it, of the making of The Princess Bride. I've been seeing that in bookstores and whatnot, and flipped through it and thought, oh, might get this. Maybe I'll wait till the library gets it, and sure enough, yay, the library got it, so I got it out, and I've been flipping through it, and it's, lots of interesting little anecdotes, not just from his point of view, but from the point of views of other folks that he worked with on that movie, which, modern classic, and it's great to hear. It's always great to hear the behind-the-scenes stuff on these great movies and whatnot, because there's a story behind the story. There's how they did that, how this all came together and clicked and worked, and how these different people were able to create something marvelous and just plain delightful, and in some ways, Princess Bride is, I won't exactly say one of my go-to feel-good movies, but it's up there. Yeah. I don't watch it nearly as often as I should, though. Something I need to correct dearly. Also, Neil Gaiman and Michael Reeves, I believe the title is The Hollow Earth, or something like that. It's a follow-up to their collaborative work, Interworld, which had to do with parallel universes and, the nature of what is real, and, will the real me stand up? So, it'll be interesting to see where they go with that, because that was such an interesting world, because I mean it was parallel universes the way parallel universes probably actually work. I mean, there's not huge changes like, oh, this world has airships or something like that. It's more like, this is a universe where the analog to you has blue eyes instead of brown, or something like that. It's just little subtle differences. I mean, I like little subtle differences in parallel worlds, because that's probably it. That's probably how the parallel universe thing works. It's not big, huge differences. It's just little tiny ones that just add up, Because sometimes it's like they say, the devil is in the details. So that could I was like to say make or break everything, which is definitely might be a bigger change than something as huge as this universe has airships instead of airplanes. Although airships instead of airplanes would be cool. I like airships. There's something romantic about them, Although, sadly, the tragedy of the Hindenburg kind of put paid to the glorious day, the glorious age of the airship. But still, they're interesting, So, cooked tacos for dinner. I guess we're going to be doing Taco Tuesday from now on, which isn't a bad thing. Also, For some reason, my mom was flipping channels and left this gangster movie on, and my dad and I started snarking at it because the art design on it was terrible. The thing had rather obviously been made in the 70s, and okay, you know, wearing a 1970s-ish evening dress and putting beads around your neck does not make you look like a flapper. You know? It's a completely different silhouette. Also, you know, flapper dresses had a boxier look to them, the waist was dropped, and, you know, 20s ladies didn't go for the bosomy look. They went for the washboard look, which I guess means yours truly it was born in the wrong decade. I often say I should have lived about 50 years earlier, but that's just me. Anyway. Yeah. That's my place in my mental book. Also, my dad was snarking at the cars. My dad used to restore 1920s cars, Model A's specifically, so he knows his way around 1920s cars, and he's looking at these cars and saying, okay, what year is this supposed to be? I'm like, okay, it's supposed to be 1925. He says, well, they're using cars from 1930, and the wheels on them are V8 wheels, and those were made in 1935. So I said, oh, maybe they're time traveling gangsters. He says, yeah. So, I won't say we were tearing it apart, but we were starking it left and right. Which was honestly made for much better entertainment than the actual movie itself. Although one thing that they did get right, which very often with these period flicks they tend to munge a little bit, was they actually got the music right. Usually when they do 20s movies in that time period, in the 70s, they'll be dumb enough to use like 1930s type music, which is kind of veering more towards a big band sound, whereas 1920s music has a bit more of a Dixieland sound to it. So at least it sounded like 20s music. So I was like, well, at least they got something right. I might just be spoiled on Boardwalk Empire, which was the producers on that were extremely meticulous about the art design and the music and the whatnot, and just the clothing and the set design and the set dressing and everything. It just was like, I would actually say that some cases when watching Boardwalk Empire can occasionally be not documentary, but the level of meticulousness. I mean, the attention to detail. I wish I'd been a little more meticulous about the writing, but that's another carp for another discussion. But anyway. So... You get your entertainment where you find it, even if that means snarking at things. So, anywho. Also, had a little bit of trouble sleeping last night because we got our first thunderstorm of the season. Not a big, huge one, but just enough to rattle the windows a little bit and wake me up and have me going, ooh, we got a thunderstorm. But not enough to have me laying there, thinking to myself every time there's a flashlight, that's too bright, it's keeping me awake. Not that I'm scared of thunderstorms, it's just, when it's nighttime and the lightning is flashing and lighting up around the edges of the shade, that can get a little jarring and keep me awake, So, didn't cut too much terribly into my sleep, because I didn't work today, obviously, and therefore I didn't have to get up too terribly not exactly say on schedule, but just, I could sleep in a little bit and catch up, not that I got kept awake for long. Yeah. Okay, so. And I think I'm going to leave it there, because once I'm running out of things to talk about, but don't want to belabor the fact, plus I got writing to get back to pronto. So, it's me, the Matrix Refugee, and you have a good evening, and I'll post again sometime soon.